Hello everyone, welcome to this video training. My name is Hawe Oluwafemi. I am Microsoft Certified Trainer. I'm Microsoft Certified DevOps Engineer and Microsoft Certified Enterprise Administrator. I work as IT consultant at Acetians Technologies, and I've been training as a Microsoft 365 Certified Trainer for the past 1 year, where I focus on Microsoft 365 Cloud solutions. In this video, we'll be looking at Microsoft 365 fundamentals. This video will be very beneficial to you if you want to write MS900 certification or you just been introduced to Microsoft 365 and if you want to know more about Microsoft 365. So to begin with, we will be laying a solid foundation for Microsoft 365 fundamental, and in doing that we will be looking at cloud computing. Cloud computing is the basis of Microsoft 365. We can't even talk about Microsoft 365 without cloud computing. Cloud computing is what brings about Microsoft 365 and other cloud solutions. Now, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is the delivery of computing services or resources over the internet. And by this, we mean that you have your servers, your storage, databases, networking, your software, your application hosted in the cloud. You have them run over the internet. And the cloud here we mean internet. So cloud service, cloud computing gives you the privilege to focus on other business needs and relieve you of the responsibility of trying or having to purchase hardware, maintaining CPUs and random access memory storage in your data center. Instead of worrying about this, what you do is you rent cloud services from the cloud service providers who manages and maintains it for you, but you make use of it and pay a commitment monthly or yearly. The cloud service provider maintains the underlying infrastructures, platform, and services for you. The goal of cloud computing is to make running a business easier and more efficient. Whether it's a small startup company or a large enterprise, every business is unique and has different needs. To meet those needs, cloud computing providers offer a wide range of services. Some of the most common services are applications, database, servers, storage, mobile applications. So this diagram will give you a summary of cloud computing. Now let's talk about the services that cloud computing provides. First one we talk about is compute services. When we talk about compute services, we're talking about you having your infrastructure hosted in the cloud and you make use of it. So this enables you to run your home web applications, database, virtual machines, and other types of computing in cloud instead of on local hardware. Example of this is when you have Microsoft Azure virtual machines. Then communication service provides you a privilege to have your users communicate properly and seamlessly with less limitation. They can communicate from anywhere. They can communicate on different projects at any point in time. Example of this service is Microsoft Exchange and Microsoft Teams. With Microsoft Exchange, you can share calendar, you can schedule meeting, you can share email between users, and Microsoft Teams provide unified messaging. Productivity services allows users to work and collaborate together. Microsoft 365 applications provide the privilege. You are not limited to having your laptop with you at all time. You can even access your work like Microsoft Office document, Microsoft Excel document, PowerPoint documents. You can have access to them on the web through your mobile phone, and you make use of it anywhere at any time to make your business ongoing. Then search services that is provided by Azure Search. This one helps you to it provides search engine and data storage that can be accessed on API. And lastly, storage services. Storage services provide a storage platform for data, so you can store your data on the cloud, and you have less worry about it, because there is you have guarantee for security and integrity of your data and availability. The main key back uh, like backend support for cloud computing, integrity, availability, and security. Your cloud, your data is well secured and available at any time you want it, and they are reliable. So now let's talk about the different IT funding model. We want to compare cloud computing, and when you have your computing resources installed on home premise, the funding uh, model for it. We have like two basic funding model: capital expenditure. In capital expenditure, you are this is a cost that is associated with buying and upgrading physical hardware. You are responsible for or for the purchase, maintenance, installation, configuration of your hardware, and even troubleshooting and ensuring that it works fine. The availability by having redundant links, or you have a backup and for recovery, for disaster recovery. You are responsible for all this, and this is huge amount that is very costly and expensive. Cloud computing provides you with operational expenditure. It shifts you from capital expenditure to operational expenditure, and what you are only responsible for is maintaining the cloud resources. Operational expenditure are the costs that an organization incur while performing its normal business operations. This includes electricity consumed, cost of employees to manage and support systems, office space, internet connections, manage and others. Management is responsible for minimizing operational costs without significantly affecting the organization's operations and ability to compete in the market. OPEX is expensed each year because you pay for and use the product or service. Now that you are implementing cloud computing, this helps you to manage your OPEX and cut down on capital expenditure. Now let's look at when you're managing your computer resources on premise. You're responsible for storage cost, network cost, backup, archive, disaster recovery cost, server cost, data center infrastructure cost, technical personnel, and others. And you say these are huge costs and very expensive, but if you move to cloud computing, you have the privilege to lease a cloud-based server, lease software and customized features. You have a scale charges based on usage and demand, billing at the user or organization level. So you only pay for what you make use of. You save cost on acquiring a space, you save cost on purchase and all that. You only lease uh, the cloud-based server and infrastructure, and you only pay for what you make use of and when you make use of it. Now let's look at cloud computing models. Cloud computing models define where your data is stored and how your customers interact with it. How do they get to the data, and where do your applications run? Cloud computing is flexible and enables you to choose how you want to deploy it. The model that you will implement depends on your budget, your security need, your scalability, and maintenance needs. Now we have about four models. Public models. Public cloud. This is the most common deployment model. In the public model, you have no local hardware to manage or keep up to date. Everything runs on the cloud service provider's hardware. This means that the information technology infrastructure like server software and other hardwares, and it's located somewhere other than your data center and is managed by a third party. The advantage of this is that it's lower cost, no maintenance, you don't need to maintain anything, and you can scale nearly unlimited scalability and highly reliable and very available at any point in time. You can have access to it. Private cloud helps you to create an environment in your own data center and provide self-service access to computer resources to users in your organization. This model offers a simulation of public cloud to your users, but you remain entirely responsible for the purchase, maintenance of your hardware and software services that you provide. The advantage of this is that it's more flexible. You can customize the environment to meet your specific business need. You need to improve security because you take full control uh, of your data and you're responsible for the security. And it's very scalable. You can still scale up and efficiently scale like you do in public cloud. Then we look at hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud defines public and private cloud when you implement the two together, allowing you to run your application in the most appropriate location. For example, you could host a website in the public cloud but link it to a highly secure database hosted in your private cloud, your on-premise data center. And organizations could choose this because of different reasons, considering protecting sensitive data, extending capabilities of on-premise systems, reducing data costs, and the advantages of hybrid cloud is you have full control. The organization can maintain private infrastructure for sensitive assets. It's very flexible and is cost effective and very easy to implement. The last one I'll be talking about is community cloud. This is also a form of public cloud but a shared cloud. And this refers to an infrastructure that is mutually shared between multiple organizations that belong to a single community cloud. And examples of these are banks, governments in a country, trading firms, and some other examples of community cloud modeling implementations. In this model, the factors like privacy, performance, and security are usually shared by the community members. The model is managed and hosted either internally or through the help of a third-party provider. And this make it apt for organizations that work on joint ventures that need centralized cloud computing ability for managing, building, and executing their projects. Now let's look at cloud services as layers. In cloud services as layers, we have basically three layers, but since the advent of coronavirus crisis, we have another one joined, and that is UCAS. Previously, we have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, but the crisis have made network providers to separate these because you can have it separately, and it has created a new layer for the cloud services. Now we'll look at infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service is the most flexible category of cloud services. It aims to provide you with complete control over the hardware that runs your application. However, instead of having to purchase this hardware in your physical location, such as servers, switches, routers, storage, and firewalls, with IaaS, infrastructure as a service, you rent it from a cloud service provider, and the only thing you manage is applications, data, runtime, middleware, and middleware to manage the update and all that. But infrastructures like virtualization, server storages, networkings are managed by your network cloud service provider. Then the second one is platform as a service, which provides environment for buying, building, testing, and deploying and running software applications. And in this model, you only manage the applications and data. Every other thing is managed by the cloud service provider. Then we go to Unified Communication as a Service, UCaaS. UCaaS is a trending up layer amid the current crisis as the service providers present communications continuity and remote collaboration services to users all over the world through the network. And this service model provides advanced security and reliability, enabling the remote workforce to work seamlessly in a secure virtualized cloud environment. Then we talk about software as a service. Software as a service is a software that is centrally hosted and managed for the end users. It is usually based on architecture where one version of application is used for all customers and runs on demand through either remote desktop service or web browser. Example of this is Microsoft 365, OneDrive for Business, and some other services. Now let's look fully into common examples of these layers. For software as a service, Microsoft 365 is an example. Salesforce, Pardot Marketing Automation, JIRA, Dropbox, Slack, and Amazon Web Services. For platform as a service, Microsoft Azure, Google App Engine, Windows Azure, App Fabric, SQL Azure, AWS Elastic, Beanstalk, Force.com, and others. We have others platform as service. And infrastructure as a service, you have Amazon EC2, we have Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Magento, One Enterprise, DigitalOcean. And for unified communication as a service, we have Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Fuse, Google Hangouts, Google Meet, Jive, and other webinar applications. And to wrap up this session, we'll be looking at key business benefit of cloud computing. Every business must decide how they want to store their data and execute their logic. Depending on your business requirement, cloud computing may or may not be right for you. But most often, cloud computing is always beneficial to your business. When we consider cost effectiveness, cloud computing provides a pay-as-you-go pricing model. Rather than paying for hardware upfront or for a predefined amount of computing resources, you only rent this hardware and pay for only the resources that you use when you use them. And cloud computing provides you the privilege to scale your resources. Vertical scaling is process of adding resources to increase the power of an existing server, while horizontal scaling is the process of adding more servers that function together as one unit. Elasticity is another business benefit of cloud computing. As an organization workload changes from a spike to a drop in demand, a cloud computing system can compensate by automatically adding or removing resources. So this will save you some cost during your drop in demand, and then when you have a spike in demand, you easily scale up to meet the need. Then always up to date, when you use the cloud, you are able to focus on what matters most, running your business. You don't have to divert resources for software patching, system configuration. These are done automatically and your resources are up to date. When you're running a business, you want to be confident your data is always going to be there. cloud computing providers offer data backup, disaster recovery, data replication service to make sure your data is always safe, secured, and reliable. So in summary, we've looked about what is cloud computing, benefits of cloud computing, models of cloud computing, and the layers of cloud computing. And we'll see that cloud computing is the evolving thing, and it has come to stay, and that is the backbone of every business. Thank you very much for joining this video. In the next session, we'll be looking at what is Microsoft 365 and what does Microsoft 365 provide. Thank you very much. Bye.